Hi, my name is Jaclyn York. Absolutely. I have three daughters, and two of them we saw different things where they could benefit from occupational therapy. One of the main things that we saw, there was a lot of emotional regulation issues, sensory regulation, and kind of like executive brain function, where my older daughter had a lot of trouble with regulating how she was feeling and expressing those emotions. I would tell people that I never knew which daughter would wake up in the morning, somebody that was really, really happy or somebody that was instantly triggered and upset and frustrated and then therefore angry and mean to other people around her. My other daughter, she definitely had trouble with more executive functioning and kind of like spatial awareness with her own body and trying to figure out through previous health traumas that she had had how to integrate all of the kind of the things happening around her into her everyday life and how to function through that. So with the older daughter, we had actually tried traditional occupational therapy, two different periods of sessions in previous years. So went through insurance and went through an occupational therapist in kind of the traditional way where it was 8 or 12 sessions and you go through it, and by the end they've met all of these marks and they're fine. She was fine, things were fixed. Then we realized that it was never a lasting fix. It was just kind of a band-aid. So after going through 2 rounds of that, we realized we kind of needed to find a little bit more non-traditional way to approach occupational therapy to help her really get to the root of these problems that she was having. Yes, it has been a night and day difference for our family. We talk about, my husband and I, how the older daughter in particular, it started where her personality just kind of was starting to rub off on everybody else in the family in kind of a negative way. And she controlled the family. Her temperament kind of controlled everybody in the house and what was going on. But since going through occupational therapy at Sensible Brain, it's taken several months for her to completely go through the process, about 9 months total, I think. But we noticed a change within the first couple of weeks. She was much better equipped to handle her feelings, to handle her emotions, to express what she was feeling. And flight or fight was a lot more regulated. So when she was put in situations where she felt very threatened, instead of lashing out verbally or physically or trying to run or flee from the moment, she would be able to sit in the moment. And she was still frustrated and upset at first. You could tell she was visibly angry, but you could also tell that her nervous system was regulating and she was trying to figure out, how do I deal with this? How do I get through this? And through the process of the treatment, she now is able to verbalize things, and she is more emotionally regulated to the point where she really doesn't have these strong reactions anymore. She wakes up a much more even-tempered child. She knows how to express what she's feeling. She recognizes that if she has a strong feeling, that it may be warranted, but it could be an overreaction to the situation that she's having. So she's able to pull herself back kind of naturally from that. And as a result, it's just changed the entire temperament within our household, how she responds, how we respond to her, and how she interacts with everybody in her life, really. Yeah, I think you realize when a child is having any sort of physical or mental struggle or problem, whatever it is, as a parent, it really does affect the entire family. It's not just limited to that child. Certainly, as a parent, you feel what your child feels, but I think also the siblings, if there are any in the household, they feel that as well. So, knowing that one of your children is kind of overtaking the rest of the family in a negative way, knowing that there's a way to kind of help with that really makes a difference in the overall feeling of the family life at home. And even through going through occupational therapy with two out of my three girls, I've been able to have conversations with the other sibling that hasn't been in it, or about each other, even though they had different struggles, just, like, oh, your sister's going through this. I know you're not necessarily experiencing that as strongly, but these are things that helped. And just knowing that they're not alone, that there's somebody there to help them, and that they know that we only want the best for them. We want to help them. We're here committed to helping them every which way we can. And that was probably the biggest thing that drove us to Sensible Brain at the beginning was I knew we needed help. What we had tried wasn't working, and I didn't have the tools to help my children. I really, really needed an outside perspective, outside help to make this a successful change and growth and learning opportunity for my girls. The people. I love the people that work here. We just from the very beginning have felt very welcomed, very loved. Kim has been very open and loving and gracious to us, as have two of the therapists that we've used, Danielle and Maggie. They have just been so wonderful for each of our girls, just sort of an instant connection. And you can tell that this is truly what they love doing, that this was a gifting given to them, and they are using that now to help other people. So I would definitely say the people, the therapists here, kind of on a more practical level, just the setup of the rooms, you can tell that they are self-made, that they were created out of a need, and what was needed didn't exist. A lot of things were built by hand and created to accommodate all these children and the different needs that they have. And so I'm very grateful that they had that opportunity to be in this type of environment that's so helpful in catering to what their individual needs are. Honestly, I really don't feel like there's much I could have changed. I know that when you're a new parent coming into this, you really want answers, and you want a definitive timeline, and you want the 1, 2, 3s of like, how is this going to work, and how is this going to happen, and how long will it be, and how much am I going to have to spend, all of these answers. And so I would say the most frustrating part coming into it as a new parent is not knowing those things. And that's really difficult. But I think that's also one of the things that Sensible Brain does beautifully. The whole point is our children are not like everybody else. Everybody has individual needs. So everybody's going to take a different path. It's going to be a different process. Some might react a lot sooner. Some might take a little bit longer. I would say it felt frustrating at the beginning not knowing, but that's not for lack of knowledge from the therapists here. It's really just like getting to know your child and knowing that every single one is different and it's going to take time. This has become my soapbox that I kind of get on if people ask about it. I definitely don't push it on people or anything like that. But if I can tell a parent is struggling with their child and happens to confide in me, I definitely am quick to tell them about Sensible Brain. It was told to me by another parent that had similar problems with their child. I was so grateful for that information. We were on a wait list for a while, and that felt very frustrating at the time. But once we were able to get in, I realized how invaluable the resources were here. I would just say, if you feel like your child could benefit, and even a small way, it may not be a big way, I would definitely urge you to check it out, because I can say from my personal experience that both of my daughters, as far as it looked like to the outside world, everybody around them never saw any of these things. It was only me at home in the safety of our own house that these sort of behaviors would come out. And it really did affect our entire family so much that I was, we need to get help. We can't continue being this way. So even if you feel like your child is not like, they're okay, they're mostly okay, it's fine, I can handle this, I can get through this, I strongly recommend you at least try to come in for an evaluation to figure these things out, because you really will be amazed at how much they can help, even things that just seem really minor.